What's up, people? What's up? 90 Day Fiancé Fridays on a Sunday.
What's up?
So, how'd you like tonight's episode?
So tonight's episode, hold on. Tonight's episode weighted scene, which kind of was like a direct copy of the Nicole Mahmoud swimming pool scene.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to see her wear the, full body suit or whatever, which it wasn't as funny as the Nicole one because Nicole had like the head wrap on and everything too, but it was kind of
Yeah.
like a mockery of the Nicole and Mahmoud scene, which was kind of entertaining for me. It's
Mm-hmm.
kind of funny because I like the stupidness of Tiger Lily scenes and like how she wakes up every morning and chooses ignorance. Like how somebody will wake up in the morning and they choose violence. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like wakes up every morning and just chooses ignorance out of every.
You're assuming it's a choice.
Well, that's what people keep saying to me. Actually, they were like, "Why do you think she's pretending to be stupid? It's not an act. This is just who she is." And I'm beginning to think it's very possible that she's just an idiot and
Mm-hmm.
she's really that dumb. Because okay, so I had told this story on my other podcast, and I was like, "Look, I remember I was in Michigan. This was a long, long time ago. I was really young, and we went to a grocery store, and apparently this part of Michigan was like highly populated with Muslim people and families. So, all in this grocery store, every woman that I saw was like wearing, like not just a hijab, but like a full burqa. Like I could only see their eyes, and
Mm-hmm.
I probably had to be like in my teens. It's pretty young, so I remember asking my mom. I was like, "Why are they dressed like that?" Like because I was thinking Tiger Lily has lived 43 years on this planet and has never seen like a Muslim woman or like
Mm-hmm.
encountered like a woman at a swimming pool that was wearing a Muslim. Like it's hard to believe that it's possible for her to be that stupid to like life. Because I googled how old the Muslim religion is. It's 1,400 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So it's crazy to me that she woke up one morning and she was like, yeah, this religion has been around for almost 1,500 years, but I don't like it. So I think we should change it. Like that's the craziest shit,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's the craziest shit. Like you just think since you don't like it, you're not even a Muslim, first of all, you don't like it. So you just want to change it after almost 1,500 years of no issues from these people who practice this culture. You want to change it.
Well, let's talk about, so if you're all on the Adnan Tiger Lily trip, like, let's talk about the fact that Adnan's in Texas now. And then if you look at all his videos, he's at the gun range, living it up. He's like driving around in their Lamborghini, or what is it, Lamborghini? And
Yeah.
then he's like he's frying up like turkeys. So he's like living the American life now. Now, so my question to you is, now that he's in America, um, do you think he's gonna be more like uptight with the Muslim traditions, or he's gonna start loosening up now that he's in America?
See, okay, so when we watched Nicole and Mahmoud, he actually got a little more uptight when he got over here, but I think it's going to be the opposite for Adnan and Tiger Lily, only because Adnan, first of all, he's not like the strictest that he could be in their religion, but second of all, he's very money driven. He's like vain. He likes to be
Mm-hmm.
cars and jets, and I think when he gets to America, because we are the more being in America, I don't know the word I need to use, but like we basically sexualize money, right? Like I don't know, that's
Mm-hmm.
not the right term, but we having money is like the goal, and it's a lifestyle. It's what you want to do. So I think his Muslim beliefs will get put on the back burner when he's able to live out his dreams and Lamborghinis and jets and go to concerts and do the things that money can let you do.
Mm-hmm.
That because he's more money driven, he's very vain and bougie. He's the opposite of what Mahmoud was. Mahmoud wasn't into
Mm-hmm.
money or nice
Yeah.
car, fame. He didn't care about any of that. But I think since Adnan is interested in that lifestyle, I think he's actually gonna get way more lenient, and she's
Mm-hmm.
gonna be able to do a lot more over here than she was over there.
Yeah, I agree. I think like now that he's here, he's like, because first of all, like, could you imagine Mahmoud like at a gun range in America?
No, I mean he was so uptight about
Hmm.
literally everything. He
Yeah.
was he didn't even like walking down the boardwalk because he didn't
Hmm.
like that the women were wearing like string top bikinis.
Yeah.
Like, he was literally uptight about the world around him. He could
Hmm.
every woman in this country was torture for him. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think that no, I couldn't see it at all.
Yeah, so I think I agree, and I think when now that Adnan's here, he's definitely gonna let loose on all these traditions, and
If he
he's
hasn't
gonna turn
already,
into like American guy.
yeah, if he hasn't already, I feel like he's probably at a Drake concert right now. Like if he hasn't
Mhm.
already, I feel like he already is.
Yeah, I could see him at like a Travis Scott concert because like it's a Texas thing or something.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like I feel like he's already forgotten
Mhm.
about all of the crap he was talking over there. I feel like he's already forgotten.
Yeah, for sure. And if y'all haven't seen that post, go look on my Instagram where I kind of sussed out that he's in Texas.
Yeah, all the proof is there. It's funny because we had already talked about this and you already knew like
Mhm.
beforehand, but all the proof is there now. If y'all needed that, it's there.
Mhm.
It's obvious where he's at. Oh, so the bride price for Matilda is with gifts and drinks $395, which I thought
Mhm.
was pretty good, right? Like, okay, I'm against buying and selling people, obviously, but if you're gonna have to pay for someone, it's pretty good. And I think it's not good for Niles because Niles is broke. We found out tonight that he lost his job, and
Mhm.
found out tonight he has $109 to his name after he went and promised all these people he could pay, for the wedding. And I like him as a character on the show, like as a person, but I do feel like him and Brian are pretty close when it comes to omitting relevant information. Like they're
Mhm.
both like what and what at this point.
Like
Like
lying by omission.
yes, they will never lie to you, but they just won't tell you exactly what's going on. And I could tell in Matilda's face tonight where she was just like, God damn it. Why
Mhm.
can't you just tell me the truth? She was like, you could have told my family that you didn't have a job and they would have worked with you. Now you told them that you were going to pay this price. So if you go back on your word, they're going to call you a liar. Like I could see in her eyes the frustration of dealing with somebody who literally doesn't tell you what's going on. You find out 2 seconds
Mhm.
beforehand that shit's going down. Kind of like with Josh and Lily, they get to the wedding venue and they're like, "Oh yeah, we didn't actually pay for the venue." Like you can't deal with people like that. You have to
Mhm.
actually tell the truth at some point.
Is the thing that caught me off guard, and I already tweeted about it, but like, well, first of all, is the price of peppermint schnapps like expensive or cheap? And then, yeah, what was with their obsession with that drink?
That was like the first thing they said, which was crazy to me because I'm thinking like, because you can ask for any gift you want, clothing, food, drinks. You can ask for a cow, a water
Hmm.
buffalo. The first thing that the mom wanted was peppermint schnapps, which I thought was really interesting. I don't know if it's expensive or not. Like I feel
Hmm.
like over there everything is cheap because what they were
Hmm.
asking for was like $4,700 in their money. It only came out to $395 an hours. So I'm
Hmm.
assuming it's expensive to them. Is
Like, I wonder if like to them it's like Cristal or something.
That's what I was thinking too. I was like, it's top shelf to them because that was like the first thing that came to mind. And remember,
Hmm.
Matilda wanted to have this big ass party with all these drinks and all these food. So I think that's like a status thing over there. If you can throw a party with alcohol and food, you're like it's a status thing. So I feel
Hmm.
like that's kind of what they're trying to achieve, this big status in their community where people come to this party and they're like, oh wow, these people have it. They have it.
Okay, and here's the conspiracy theory that I'm just like pulling out of my ass on the spot or on the fly. But could this be a possibility? And I'm not saying this is what I think. I'm just throwing out a theory. But could it be something where it's like a product placement where Schnapps said, "Hey, can y'all get us mentioned on the show?" And then the producers like, "Yeah, we can get them to like throw in the request for Schnapps on the show as like a low key product placement."
I mean, it's possible. I mean, they know because them taking the show off of streaming, so you can't stream it till the next day. They know that they're guaranteed. I think it's like 1 million people watch this show live,
Hmm.
so
Hmm.
that's a pretty attractive amount of people for a company. So it's very possible that they're gonna start sliding in product placements into the show,
Hmm.
and they're making money that way. Because keep in mind, this entire network or production company is under new management. So there's going to be a lot of different changes. So yeah, maybe they got Peppermint Schnapps to pay them, and they're advertising on the show, like not advertising, but I guess like single. What do you call it?
Hmm.
Unpaid advertising, I think is what you would call it. Product placementing them in, and I mean, and if this is the beginning of it, I would notice that right away. I've always noticed product placements. I was used to watch MTV. You know how
Hmm.
video it has to have a product placement, so I used to always I could pick out a
Hmm.
product. So
Well,
it
I noticed something random, and I don't think it was a product placement. It was probably just lazy editing. But when Vanja or whatever was reaching down to tie her shoes, like I saw the Asics logo wasn't blurred out.
Oh, I didn't notice that. I mean, that could have been an error, but yeah, yeah, usually blot out all of the logos. Like, and when they do the show
Mhm.
and the pillow talks, they can't have anything with a logo. You'll never catch a logo. So yeah, it could
Yeah.
have been editing though, because remember on Love in Paradise, they actually showed the dude's dick on TV.
Mhm.
So it could have been lazy editing. I forget that guy's name now.
I know you're talking about Blake
Yeah,
or something.
yeah. So yeah,
Yeah.
it could be lazy editing because there's no way that we should have saw that.
Mhm.
They should have caught that long beforehand.
Okay, yeah, I have like a bunch of like topics flying in my head, but like let me get them out. Like and then I do have something to mention about related to Blake, not which isn't a B90 thing, but I'll mention it later in the show. Um okay, so let's see. Were you surprised how quickly Faith kind of accepted that he's STD free and started kissing
Well,
him?
yes, but she did have like a paper that said he was STD free. So, I mean, that was enough verification for me. Like I'm not
Mhm.
gonna stick my tongue down his throat, but like
But
that.
no, well, okay, let's say you're on a date with a chick that like gonorrhea and then she gives you the paper. This is like a new girlfriend or something, and she gives you the paper, I'm STD free. Like, are you kissing her like that same day though?
No, no, because I used to manage, like work in management, and I used to get fake doctor's notes all the time from people that just didn't want to work. So like it could be fake. So like, no, I'm not gonna like we're not doing anything right away
Yeah.
because I trust everything. I'd need to verify.
Hmm.
I don't think there's like a test you could buy at Walgreens to tell you if people have the STD, right? It's just like drug tests, right?
Yeah, you need like a blood test. I think.
Yeah, that's like a blood test. Yeah, so I guess there's no real way. You just have to trust people, right? That's
Hmm.
scary. That's really scary. But no,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have done it right away. Like, nah, I've been STD free my whole life, and I would love to keep it that way. Like,
True.
I don't want to join that club. That club that Loren is recruiting people to get into with him. I'm good on that.
Hmm. True. If it's okay, I'm gonna jump around. So, what did you think of the guy when Vanja was just sitting there, and all of a sudden the guy approaches her, sit down, and says, "Hey, you can I talk to you?" And I feel like the producers must have like egged that on or something.
That was the most scripted scene
Hmm.
I've seen in a long time. Like, I know for a fact that it was scripted. Like I know that he was told, she's gonna be sitting here. We want you to approach her and ask her on a date. Like it was so fake. But I feel
Hmm.
like after Boja left, I feel like she probably told him she didn't want to film with him anymore because I'm
Hmm.
pretty sure they were gonna like, oh, you should meet up with him and talk and try to work. And she probably said no, and they were obviously already there in Split, and they needed to film. So I feel like this was just filler that they needed to get done because she's gonna be there for another 2 weeks, and the crew probably looked at it like, well, what are we supposed to do here with you for the next 2 weeks if you're not gonna film with him? So I feel like it was fake. The whole thing was fake. Like him being in an open relationship, I feel like they told him what to say. I don't think he's in an open relationship. I think it was all BS.
Do you think he was just in a regular relationship?
I mean, I think he was probably in the restaurant they were filming in, and they probably approached him in the moment.
Hmm.
Was like, "Hey, we're filming a TV show. Do you think she's pretty? If so, do you want to talk
Yeah.
to her?" Like, I feel like it went down like that. I mean, he could possibly have a girlfriend,
Hmm.
but I don't believe that he's in an open relationship or anything like that.
Yeah, that was super fake.
Well, those things happen in real life,
Hmm.
but not usually to a girl that just recently got dumped the night before that is in a bar or in a place alone drinking.
Well,
Like,
yeah, with like with a camera guy next to her head,
yeah,
right?
that's not how it happens. That's not real life.
Yeah.
But I think that scene is a segue. I think we're gonna see her again on the single
Mhm.
life because remember she was at the yacht party,
Yeah.
and I think we talked about this before. I think the people that we saw at that yacht party are people that we're gonna see in the future. I felt like that there was no reason why, because remember Joey was at that yacht party.
Yeah.
So, and I was like, I don't know why the hell we would see. I think we were going to see him on the single life too. No, I hate to say it, but he's a really good candidate for the single life because he's a cheating liar, and those are
Mhm.
great. That's how Big Ed did really good on the single life. He's a cheating liar, and that gets you a lot of screen time. So I feel like he's definitely going to be there, and I think Vanja is definitely going to be on the single life. And that scene was opening up. That I kind of saw it as a segue for her
So,
dating.
so if you think Joe is going to be on single life, you think his relationship won't last?
Oh yeah, there's no chance in hell that they're still together. Yeah, it's not gonna last. I
Okay.
put money on it, and it's funny because I no one has told me anything. I haven't talked to anyone. This is just my assumption. I have no
Hmm.
proof that they're not even together at the moment. I just feel like it's not gonna last.
Yeah. Um, I know this isn't like a B90 thing, but I have I'm gonna post it like either like tomorrow or something. But I have like kind of some funny related to Blake since you mentioned him. What was the name of the? Do you remember the chick he was with? Blake was with?
Jasmine, do
Well,
you
no,
call
no,
her?
no. We're talking about the guy that was the one that was in had the nude scene on accident.
Oh, is his name Blake?
I think so.
I don't remember his name being Blake. Hold on a
And
second.
what do you think?
Hold on.
Do you remember the girl's name?
Um, I
Mm,
remember she couldn't spell beauty, and she's
yeah. Well, okay. It doesn't. It doesn't matter. But like, so the funny part is apparently a fan went to. It was a Medellin, right? Colombia.
yeah,
Do we know that part?
Medellin.
Medellin, whatever. I'm gonna say Medellin. I think that's right too. But anyway, so they went to a fan went to Colombia, and then they found her like her like salon, whatever salon beauty place. And apparently, the update is I have the photo, and I'm gonna post it like maybe tomorrow or something. Apparently, they fixed the sign to where beauty is spelled correctly now. That's like the update.
Oh,
Because remember, it was like misspelled.
well, yeah. I'm glad that they did. I
But
mean,
also the other part of the update is I think they were there like on a Saturday where you'd expect if the business is open, it would be open on like a Saturday, like a busy day, you know.
yeah.
But apparently it was like closed, like it was closed and not open for business on a Saturday. So I feel like it must not be functional.
Oh, well, I assume that too. Okay, Luke and Medellin.
Oh, Blake and Luke. It's like it sounds similar. My
Yeah,
bad.
Luke and Medellin. And actually, I found out from one of my co-hosts before, she did press on nails. You know how
Mhm.
there's nail techs who actually like create nails, like they cut and paste and create. This girl Medellin, she only did press on nails,
Mhm.
which is the lowest of the low. Because I was talking to some women and I was like, "Well, explain this to me. I don't know anything about nails." And they were like, "Press on nails is basically what you do at home when you're bored and you're watching TV." She was
Mhm.
like, "Most women wouldn't pay you to do press on nails. That's what they sell at the dollar store." So that was what she did. She wasn't even an actual nail tech. This
Mhm.
because they were looking into it and they were like, I wouldn't pay her to do press on nails. They're like, a 16-year-old girl could do that by herself. Like, why would I
Yeah.
do that? So I'm not surprised that the business is not actually functional because not very many women, because a press on nail, basically when you hear a woman say she like opened her car door and her nail broke off, it was a press on nail.
Mhm.
It's just basically they just pop off like they're like I don't know what you would call it, but they just pop off. You put too much pressure on them and they pop off. They're cheap, so nobody
Yeah.
really pay you to do that.
True. All right, let's get back to B90. So, I mean, now that we see Niles is broke as a joke, do you think Matilda is going to sour on him?
I mean, I was looking at it different ways because I guess if he can't come up with the bride price, he can't marry her anyway.
Hmm.
That would be an easy way for her to get out of the relationship without making it be her fault. It would be his fault. I think that him not having money has never been like a big issue because she kept saying on the show like, when have I ever asked you for anything? And he did say back when he was in Alabama, she's never sent her any money, which you and I both think is a complete lie. But I think that him giving her money while she's there isn't the issue. I think she wants the lifestyle when she gets here. So I feel like
Hmm.
she's not turned off by the fact that he doesn't have any money now. She's more interested in the lifestyle that she could have if she was here. Not
Hmm.
necessarily him taking care of her, but her taking care of herself, if that makes sense.
Hmm. So his line of work was what? He worked with like autistic people?
Well, I think yeah, he worked. He got resources to people with autism, like to help them get jobs or get skills to get jobs, something along the lines of that, something like a nonprofit, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And he said he was really good at the job, and then a day before he left, they let him go, which I don't know if you can do that. Like, aren't there laws to protect people with disabilities with jobs? I'm pretty sure you can't just fire them, right? I think there's a process you have to go through.
I don't know about the disability part, but as far as depends on what state you're in. Like They like in my state, they could just fire you for no reason. But in like Maryland, they have to have a reason.
Oh, so it varies. I mean, I know if someone has like a medical condition, because I used to work in, I remember I worked in management, you can just fire, like there was a girl that had lupus, wor-
Hmm.
worked, and she couldn't work. She would call off a lot because her illness was just unbearable at times. She couldn't work. So I was trying to replace her. Not, I don't want to sound bad. Like I was trying to get somebody who could actually come in because I didn't like working open to close every day. And
Hmm.
my higher up boss was like, do whatever you want, but you can't cut her hours and you can't fire her. If it goes back to it has to do with her disability, we're screwed. So, but that was in Ohio. So, like you said,
Hmm.
it varies on where you are. So,
Well, I don't know the whole the disability part, but just speaking in general, workers like some states, it's a I forget what it's called, but some states
oh,
there
no,
needs
no fault or at
yeah,
will.
yeah, no fault, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, you're right. I think in Florida it's a no fault or at will. So, like they can fire
yeah,
you,
yeah.
look funny. Like they just don't. It doesn't
Hmm.
matter fire you for any reason whatsoever.
Yeah,
I say people with disabilities have an extra layer of protection,
yeah,
like
they do.
discriminate against them if it has anything to do with their disability. So they would
Mhm.
have to come up with a reason outside of his disability why it wasn't work out in order for them to be safe. But again, every state is governed by somebody else, so it might not matter where he's at.
He's in Alabama, right?
Yeah, he's in Alabama, and I grew up in Louisiana. They're like 100 years behind on the laws in certain parts
Yeah,
of the South.
yeah. Those red states, they don't give a fuck about
Yeah, yeah.
workers.
It's like you hear what their law is, and you're like, so people still live here? Why? Because I grew up in Louisiana, and we were like 100 years behind on all the laws. Like nothing made sense.
Mhm. Yeah, so good luck at Niles. Hopefully his cameo is popping off.
Yeah, he gets his check after the tell all, and that'll be like what $40,000, and then he's got to get straight on Cameo. Actually, he should be on there now. He
Hmm.
should be on there now. Is just start stacking up money because even if he did marry her this season, which I don't know, he said he's gonna ask Mr. Ark for money, which I think is wild. Even if he does, he still would need money to actually
Hmm.
bring the visa process. You know, he have to buy it, pay for it, and everything. And I don't know. I don't think he can afford that. I think he's in over his head. I think
Hmm.
he came over there with no money, thinking that he was gonna do what he was gonna do with no back plan. Like when he got
Hmm.
back, and I feel sorry for him because he said in the show, he's like, I can't even call my parents. I can't ask them for help. Nobody wants to help me. I felt bad for him.
Yeah. By the way, I heard I pinged Chitty to see if he would come on the Twitter space, and he did get back to me, and so I'm trying to work it out. Well, he said he does have a Twitter account, and then but he was trying to figure out what the whole how to how it all operates. But then I also asked him like if the timing works on a Friday at 10 p.m. But so I'm working on the Chitty being on our podcast.
Really? That's exciting. I have like a million things I want to ask him. So that would be really
Yeah.
exciting.
Oh, because I think Renee, whatever the fuck her name is, she posted today, I think, where she was saying like basically the GoFundMe is kind of like bullshit because there's no hope for his getting vision, so he's just like ripping y'all off for money.
Well, we asked about that too, though, because
Hmm.
did go see a doctor, and the doctor did say, there isn't really much we can do for you. So
Hmm.
it does seem odd. I mean, it kind of seems like he wants to test out and find another doctor in another part of the world. But I told you that before. I was like, is it our responsibility to fund that? Do you think
Hmm.
we should be the one funding, him traveling around and finding the right doctor to do that? Because I Googled it and it says that there is something called an eye transplant, but
Hmm.
they're very, very, very rare where they actually work. Because I was looking at it, and you can take an eyeball out of one person and put it in another person, but it's a nerve thing that you connect from the brain to the eye. That's
Hmm.
the issue, and it's like a tiny percent of time where that actually works, and you can use the eye to see.
That sounds like expensive.
But first of
So,
all, where the hell do you get an eyeball? Second of all, it's if it doesn't work, like all this money that you put into it, and now you have another eye in your face and it doesn't work. So that
yeah.
it's just it does sound hopeless to me. But I if there is a way, I would love for him to figure out a way to get it done. But I don't know if you know the 90-day viewers are gonna fund it. I don't know if they're gonna
Mm.
fund it that way. I mean, at first everybody was pretty receptive, And then after people looked into it and they realized that there really wasn't any proven way that is a guaranteed success that he could go, and then people are like, oh, so we're just paying for experimental stuff for him now. So people didn't
Yeah.
like.
Yeah, kind of like the buzz died down.
Well, yeah, they were just like, if there was a procedure that has a high success rate that has been done many, many times, I think people will be on board. But
Mhm.
since there is no actual procedure that's been successful multiple times, people are just like, okay, so we supposed to just pay for every procedure until it works? You know, like
Mhm.
that's we're not an insurance company, you know, like that's a lot.
Yeah. True that. What did you think of when when Lauren was out with his, at the hanging out with the drag queen people, and then they had Faith's friends asked him, how many people have you hooked up with lately, and he said like seven, right?
Well, first it was five, then
Hmm.
it went up to seven. It's funny because he told Faith in the beginning it was one time. Do you remember that? Am I the only one that remembers that?
Yeah, or at least yeah, like one person
Or
one
one,
time.
maybe multiple times, or whatever.
Yeah.
That that number sounds more accurate because when we talked to him, it definitely sounds like. Remember, he told us he was hooking up with whoever he was living with at the time, and it was a guy, and he said that he didn't even want to hook up with them. He just did it because they were living together. So that
Mhm.
number didn't sound right to me. No one. So I was like, seven might actually be lower too. I feel like
Mhm.
Lauren gets around, right?
Mhm.
When you get the nickname the illness of the whores, you get around. I feel like it's probably closer to 15 or 20 people, like in my opinion.
Mhm. Of do you so of those like 7 to 15 people, are they all like do you do you think they're all like men and trans women, and or do you think he gets actually any like bio? Because I know it seems like he says he'll bang anything that walks. So do you think he gets any biological women?
Um, I would say probably more men and trans women,
Yeah.
but I mean, my question is, what woman would want to bang Lauren? Like, and, not to be rude, but like if a woman that's interested just in men is looking for a guy, I don't feel like Lauren would be the criteria that she would be looking for. I don't know. So I
Yeah.
think when he said that he's only into trans women, I believe him, like
Hmm.
wholeheartedly. I believe that.
Yeah.
Which he's a bottom, which we were learning more about that this season, which makes no sense because that doesn't even fit.
Well, no, that's what the show said, right? But because on social media though, he says he's like a switch or something, or he's like,
Oh, okay. Well, that because I was like, how would that work? Because remember when they were in the van and they were talking,
mhm.
and obviously Faith was like, "I'm a bottom," and then he's like, "Well, I'm a bottom." And she's like,
Yeah, that was definitely probably for the show to be like funny or something.
"I
Because I
mean,
think the reality, he's like well, I hate that I'm like well versed on this stuff now, but the reality is he's like a switch slash verse, means like versatile. I think I don't know.
oh, so he goes in the direction of where it's needed.
Yeah.
You adapt to whatever is
The
needed.
ins and the outs.
Right, got it. Okay, so basically a bisexual, but in the sexual sense, right? Like
Yeah.
you go either direction. I mean,
Mhm.
that makes more sense because I don't know. I don't see Lauren. I hate to say this, but I don't see Lauren as just like a guy who would go out and hit on a girl. Like I feel
Mhm.
like you can tell. Like when he tells you that his preference is trans women, I can see that. I can tell. You can when he gets super excited when he sees a trans woman. Like you can tell
Mhm.
his type.
Were you shocked that Faith got up there and danced?
I was. I was. I ain't gonna lie. I thought Faith was like this innocent girl or whatever. And I don't want to like shame anybody because I don't care. But that didn't look like her first time on a pole.
Hmm.
Didn't look like her first time on a pole, which was interesting because she seemed so innocent and sweet. And I think she's a freak in the sheets, right? Like I think she's a freak in the sheets. I think she's one of those girls where you would never know, and then you get her at home, and you're like,
Hmm.
whoa, what? Right? Like because I was surprised. She did good, right? She did
Hmm.
better than some of the drag queens on the stage.
True. Yeah, it seemed like she was ready to get drunk with Lauren at the end of it before he screwed up talking to drag people.
Yeah, I feel like that was gonna be a really fun night,
Hmm.
or it took the direction that it did. And also, I don't think Lauren was flirting with anybody outside with her like 10 feet away from him. I think that Lynn, who is her best friend, Faith's best friend, just don't like him. And I think she's
Hmm.
looking to start shit. I don't
Yeah.
think because it makes no sense. Her best friend is there. Her other two friends are there. She's standing 10 feet away, and you're gonna flirt with somebody right in front of everybody. I don't believe that. I don't think
Mhm.
he's dumb. He's not that stupid.
Yeah. Did you see like at the end of the show they do the preview for the next episode? Did you see the preview part?
Yeah, yeah. I saw the
Yes.
next
So
week.
okay, the part I wanted to talk about was what did you think of Brian kind of quote unquote crashing out and saying like the only reason you're with me is you want to get like a ticket to the United States?
Yeah, he called her. He said she was using him and wanted him
Yeah.
for less and take care of her kids. And it's crazy to me because I felt like he was trying to get her to be his caretaker. Because I was like, can't it just be that you want something from her and she wants something from you? Why do you think that she's
Mhm.
using you? Like, I don't know. I felt that I felt like that was unwarranted.
I think that was a thing where, like I said, that was like him crashing out, meaning like he saw it wasn't really going anywhere, and he's like, at this point, I'm just gonna like fly the plane, into the side of the mountain.
Well, yeah, he had been there. I don't know how many weeks, and they hadn't even slept in the same building, like the same
Yeah,
apartment or hotel together. So yeah, I think at that point he was like, "Well, when I leave here, we're not going to be on speaking terms. So I'm gonna say
yeah,
how. So when I
yeah,
leave here, I don't have to talk to you anymore." Like I feel like that's what he was trying to.
yeah. Yeah, he was putting a fork in it because he was frustrated.
Well, right, because he was like, "What's the point of me leaving here and then continuing talking to you if we didn't even sleep in the same building, right? Like what's the point?"
Yeah, they're not even under the same roof and shit.
Not even the same fucking building. She was in one. He was in the
Mhm,
apartment, and she was in a hotel like 14 streets away. Like they weren't even in the same building. She literally did not
mhm,
let him anywhere near her. So I feel like yeah, he was like, you know what? I'm leaving in 2 days. Let me just tell this. Let me tell her whatever I need to tell her to piss her off. So when I get back to Chicago or whatever, she never calls me again. And I think that's what he did.
true. True. Were there any other topics we haven't hit?
We
Did you
talked.
talk about anything interesting on Instagram that we haven't
Um,
talked about?
I think we talked about everything.
True.
Hold
I
on.
will. I was gonna say. I know it's not a B90 thing, but did you? And I know we should save this for Friday, but did you see the photos of S. Scott and Biniam and Angela?
Yeah, I saw the pictures from the party at Joker's.
Hmm.
Um, it looked like they had a good time. A lot of people online didn't have anything good to say, but it looked like they had a good time. So, um, I don't know what to say about it yet. I'm still on the fence on what happened.
The only thing well, yeah, I heard a lot of feedback where some people were like, "Oh, I'm gonna unfollow Benny now from like on social media." They were like
Um,
turned off by that.
See, I don't like that. I don't like the I hate you by association thing. I'm not a fan of that. Like
I,
I want.
I mean, I did that in the caption as kind of like as a ball busting kind of goof, but yeah.
Well, I mean, I get it. Like in court, you can easily be convicted of a crime. Like we've talked about this before. If you're driving a car and somebody gets out of your car and go robs a bank, you robbed a bank too. So it is a such thing as guilty by association. But I
Hmm.
don't like to stop liking someone because they associate with someone. Like I like to have my own personal reason why I don't like them, not just because they're friends with someone that they shouldn't be. Because I don't like to
Hmm.
tell people who they can be friends with. But I think that Benny is he's swimming in shark infested waters, hanging
Hmm.
around those two. I'm gonna say it. It is what it is. And I think the fans feel very strongly about those two. So he should be careful swimming with sharks, right? You got to be very careful.
Hmm. Yeah, the only other thing I was gonna say related to that is there is a 90-day insider. Like she was at the boat party. Uh, I'll just like well, I can mention her. I don't think she here. Like, well, actually, I don't know if I shouldn't say that she was there. But anyway, let's just then I won't name her because I don't think she wants me to say that she was at the boat party publicly. But she meant tweeted me and then she said, "Ugh, I have a scoop that gives him a pass. He will be seen as innocent, I swear." And then my only thought was I said, "What? He was forced to go in order to promote the last resort." So apparently, there's a reason he was there, but I don't know the full reason.
Wait, who are we talking about?
Well, I could DM it to you, but I don't because I just said she was at the boat party. She doesn't want me to say
No,
she was
you
there.
said somebody was at the last resort. Who was at the last
No,
resort?
no, not at the no. Well, Benny's on last resort, so
Okay, so the person said that Benny is gonna come out as innocent.
no, because it was in response to the photo with hanging out with Angela. And then this person who's the insider said
Oh,
the reason he was there. There's an innocent reason he was there or something. I don't know. And then I was saying why? What's the reason? Is it because to go promote the fact that he's on Last Resort? But then I didn't get a response.
Oh, I see
But
what
yeah,
I see
yeah.
what.
So apparently the reason he was hanging out with Angela there, he has like a good excuse or something. Apparently, but I don't know the full reasoning.
Interesting. I don't either. I don't know the full reason. I mean, The Last Resort is premiering, and being. I don't know if they would want him to be doing that at the to promote the show. I don't know. So I would
Hmm.
love to know what comes from that information.
Yeah. True. All right. Well, I think we hit all of our topics. Let me just look at the chat, see if anybody left any comments. Someone said Illinois is at Will State. They can just come and say we made a business decision. We got to let you go. Um, let's see. Oh, somebody had something to say about your comments, which said him, as in George, him describing the difference between press-on nails and real nails is hilarious because I'm a cosmetologist and a lot of the things he said is wrong. Laugh out loud.
Wait, for real? I don't
Yeah.
know. I was only going by what women
Mhm.
told me.
Oh, do you want me to give that person like speaking privileges?
Do they want to like explain it to me, because I don't
Yeah.
know. I was only going by what a person told me. So can you like explain to us the difference between
Mhm.
um acrylic and press on, or because the girl Medellin was doing like not
Yeah,
acrylic,
it sounds like she was doing the cheap ass ones that cost like
right?
$10
So
or something.
yeah, I would love to know. I don't want to tell anybody the wrong information. I was just given some information and I was just repeating it.
True.
So yeah, I'm not a what do you call it, an expert. I've never even gotten my nails done like ever. Like
Mhm.
how like MGK, like a lot of guys are doing it now. I've never actually done it, so I can't even sit here and pretend that I know what I'm talking about. I've never even painted my nails. My nails are whatever color I was born. So like I've never even done it. So
Mhm.
no.
Okay, Holly, if you want to speak, go ahead, but hoping your sound quality is good.
How is it this time?
Oh, it's good
That
now.
was good.
Okay, so there are actual salons that you can go to that they do press on nails, but it's a certain technique as to how you do it.
And people
And
been paid to get that done too.
yes, so like there's a salon in New York that they specialize in press on nails. So what they do is and it's also like a form of gel X. Like I get gel X. It's actually stronger than doing the regular nails and it's less abrasive than having the regular nails like acrylic on your nails. So it's not like a cheap, oh well, if your nail pops off, they were press on. No, if your nail pops off, they were just cheap nails in general. But
Oh,
press-ons are like people do make customized press-ons and then they apply them a certain way so that they don't come off. So press-ons have come a long way. So,
Mhm.
but they call them press-ons because you're not sitting there for the long process like you would for acrylic or a gel nail.
Yeah, I
uh,
think I think what George and I probably were thinking about are like press-ons in like the 1980s and shit.
well,
Yeah. You guys are thinking like the sticker nails. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know, because people online were like, "Oh yeah, whatever she was doing in that shop, women wouldn't pay to do that. They could do it at home." That's what people kept trying to.
No, no, that's false. There's actually salons popping up all over now that are doing press-ons.
See,
True.
yeah, that's interesting. I'm glad to hear what's really
Mhm.
going on, because I wanted to believe that she wasn't just like some 19-year-old pretending like she knew what she was doing at a salon. I wanted to believe that wasn't true.
Yeah.
No, they're like, and I've seen press-on sets go for upwards of like 1,500 to 2 grand.
What? That's a lot.
Yeah, there's a girl on Instagram who does like custom portraits on nails, and but they're press-on. So she does the artwork and then sends them to you and you apply them. But again, the glue, the gel, everything, depending on
Mhm.
how you apply them, the technology and technique has changed so drastically now that it's better than sitting for an hour or two in the nail salon.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. So it's actually faster. That makes sense.
It's it's faster and it gives you the same durability with less abrasion to your nail.
True.
Oh, so this is
So Press-ons are the wave.
Yeah, I was
Okay.
gonna say actually something that evolved that women do want
Hmm.
because it's
Yeah.
an evolved process. It's less dangerous to put on your nail than the other stuff. Okay, that makes sense.
True.
Oh, can I say one thing too? And I
Yeah,
heard Binyam got paid. I heard he that was a paid
Appearance.
that appearance for him to be there with Angela, like because he was on the flyer.
Hmm.
yeah,
So it was one of those like, yeah, they flew him out and paid him to be there.
yeah.
So it was a paid
Him and
appearance.
Scott did get paid. I did know that.
So yeah, so it's kind of like why wouldn't Binion get paid? And then also my guy in the wheelchair, he freaked her out on the first time that they were in the hotel together. Remember, he showed her how to
Hmm.
put the condom thingy on so he can
Hmm.
urinate while he sleep.
Yeah,
That freaked her out. So
Hmm.
remember, she was like, "Yeah, I
Yeah.
wasn't ready for that."
He was kind of like whack. He was making whacking sounds in the bathroom.
Yeah, like he
yeah.
was being weird to her the first night in the hotel. So
Well,
I
Hmm.
kind of understand why she didn't want to stay with him.
I've
Yeah.
met a lot of women who have told me they know whether or not they would ever sleep with a man within the first 5 minutes of meeting him. And they
Hmm.
were like, if they get a weird, strange vibe, it doesn't matter. You can't ever come back from that, is what they basically were telling me. They were just like, I would never sleep with that person ever because of the vibe that they got. And I think she got one of those vibes and it was never going to change. Maybe she thought in the back of her mind, like, I don't know, maybe if I spend more time with him or if I get to know him, I think it never changed. I think she was just completely freaked out by him.
Yeah,
Hmm.
he gave her the icks too early.
Hmm. Yeah. He tried
I
to go
feel
for
like
the kill on like the first night.
right where like I was engaged to somebody in a wheelchair, and those things you gotta walk someone in. It's not like here's me with no,
Hmm.
here's how I do my daily life. It's kind of like you gotta walk certain people because it is very drastic for an able person
I have a question.
to
Were
go ahead.
were they in a wheelchair when you met them or did this happen like while y'all were together?
He was in a wheelchair when we met.
Oh, so this was from beginning to end.
Yeah.
What was your initial reaction like when y'all started talking? Because Brian seems to think that people have this weird prejudice against men in wheelchairs. Like, how did you feel when he approached you?
Um, that he was cute. I mean, it didn't matter.
So
Like
it
it
did
didn't. He just
cross
he
your mind.
just was cute, and he was cute and charismatic. And then I was like, he was like, "Oh, I'm in a wheelchair," and I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." Like,
Oh, so
it
wait,
just didn't
But wait,
bother
was
me.
it? Wait, was it online and
so it
then you
was
didn't know
online.
initially?
No, it wasn't online. I met him in person, but he was driving. So I didn't
Uh,
see
Oh,
if he
I get it.
was in a yeah, I didn't see if he was in a wheelchair or not. I happened to see the hand control and was like, "Hey, are you in a wheelchair?" And he was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Oh, okay."
Wait, you know, what I mean, was it a dude in the car and he rolled down the window and started hollering, or was it, or you knew him for some other way?
Of course, Shabooty. Have you seen me? Of course.
I know that's what happened.
This is
Yeah.
Okay.
That is
Oh,
actually
like,
how it happened. We were at a stoplight, and he was like,
okay.
"Hey, you're pretty." And I was like, "Hey, you're cute."
Mhm.
And then he was like, "Well, pull over." So I was like, "Okay."
I'm damn. Did he not to be all whatever, but like, did he have a nice car?
Yes, I mean, at the time, yes, it was
Mm,
brand new
okay.
Lincoln Navigator.
Okay. So
oh,
his yeah, I think the brand new car had upped his confidence a ton.
Yeah, I mean, it helped, but I mean,
or
he
I was
was a
do you
handsome
feel
man.
like he was already confident. Like, do you feel like the wheelchair thing didn't hold him back? He was just confident in general.
Yeah, he was just confident in general.
Mm.
Yeah, the wheelchair thing wasn't,
Yeah.
for lack of better terms, a crutch that he was like, "Oh,
The-
I'm in a wheelchair and people think this about me and woe is me." It was kind of like,
Opposite of Brian.
"Hey, could really opposite of
Okay.
Brian." So that's why when I sometimes see Brian, I'm just like, he does have this self-loathing kind of pitying
Yep.
thing.
mm,
And it's like, bruh, like, get over it. Like, all right, you have this, and and you kind of like disable bombed,
mm,
your girl by like exposing too much to her at once, and you just met her. You know what I mean? And as a
Yeah.
person who dated somebody who was in a wheelchair, it's kind of like, you did too much too quick, sir.
mm.
So, how long were y'all dating This might be too personal. Don't answer it if it is. But how long while y'all were dating before y'all actually were intimate? Like, was it like months?
Uh, yeah, it was months.
Was that because of him or you or a combination of the two?
A combination of the two. It wasn't for any restriction reason. It just was like, just one of those things you just let happen organically.
Yeah, I get that. Did
But
you
I feel like
like
what
worries?
I'm sorry, go
Did you have any worries or
huh?
like did you worry about anything beforehand? Or did y'all talk about it beforehand or did it just happen organically?
Everything was organic.
So y'all were like hanging out, chilling, watching TV and it just happened.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Did was
Yeah, pretty
did he have to
much.
like pop? Did he have to pop Viagra like Brian or something?
um no.
Okay.
Okay.
No. So each injury is different.
Hmm.
Well, that's what Brian was trying to say too, because remember he went to that support group and like everyone was saying, like some people said that in order for them to do it, it was painful, it could kill them, and then some people said it was pleasurable. Everybody is completely different, so you never know how that works until you get there, I guess.
True.
Well, yeah, this is interesting. We should have had you on back when we were talking
Is he
about
still waiting for me?
this, because this would have been really good information. Because we should have had you on when we were talking about this. Because I always wondered
Yeah.
how women reacted. Because Brian was selling to us that women, there's a stigma where women don't give a guy in a wheelchair the time of day. I believe that isn't true.
I dated two guys in a wheelchair. One was my fiance, one was just a boyfriend from college. And I will say, yes, it is initially I think the only thing that I've learned from it is that different injuries bring different scenarios. So, you know, urinating is an issue for some of them. Getting a hard on is, different for some of them. And um like my ex-fiance, he used to have this thing where his leg would have tremors, so like each thing is different. So it's like, but you don't know that when you first come into it. You just see wheelchair, and then sometimes they do have like ghost pain from their injuries. But for the most part, like, to me, again, Brian is making it seem more as like, no one wants to date me because I'm in a wheelchair and it's so hard. No,
Right.
it's not, because I was engaged to somebody in a wheelchair, but everybody's scenario is not like mine's. But I do understand that, no, you can find love when you in a wheelchair, and there's nothing wrong with that. Hell, my sister is blind with a cane, and she just got married. So
Wow.
disabled people have no problem finding love. And I hate that kind of Brian is pushing that narrative that it is, it's hard to find love. Um, but just to answer any other questions, Shabooty, no, sex wasn't all that difficult. Yes, there was some challenges, but we kind of worked around it and made it work.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So like,
True.
certain positions were more challenging than others, than an able-bodied person would have, you know what I'm saying, an issue with. So it's like, but you again, it's almost like if you lose your sense of taste, you increase your sense of smell. So when you can't do one thing, you kind of try to excel in others, if that makes sense.
Oh,
Hmm.
I catch your drift. I caught it.
You catch what I'm putting
I
down?
caught it. I,
True. Yeah.
oh,
People. You have some fans that are listening because Pink's now kitten says this is so interesting! Exclamation point.
I know. I feel like I really wish we would have had.
But we should no. But we could. We could just we could have. We've had Holly on before. I think right. Yeah.
Yes, you've had me on a few
Yeah, yeah.
times.
So we could have you. We could have you on again, obviously in the future, and then we could talk more. We could dive more into like the details.
Yeah, I feel like this is a conversation
Have a good night.
that we need more time for, right? I feel like we could
Yeah.
talk more on this.
Yeah, and if we talk to you on a Friday if you're around, then we could sick our co-hosts on you as well because they have good questions too.
I have my alarm set for Fridays. Little do you know, I'm on the West Coast, and remember, I'm the other Vegas girl.
Mm.
Oh, so
I'm the
oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I'm the other one in Vegas.
Yeah, I want to get Captain Picard and Coco asking you questions and stuff.
Well, yeah, I probably am.
Yeah,
I'm probably not asking.
because I've been following the show for quite a long time, and I just recently recapped on a lot of the things that the show has been doing. And I've been, if Angela got one hater, I promise you it's me. And if she don't got no haters, then that means I'm dead, because
Oh,
I can't I can't stand Angela.
Sure.
Me and Angela Dean, I would love to see her in public, because a cold cup of water needs to be in her face.
so
For real.
have you felt that way about her since the very, very beginning? Because some people changed in the middle. Or were you one of the
No,
that always couldn't stand her?
I could not stand her from the beginning. And it was one phrase that she said to Michael
Hmm.
that really threw me off, that I was just like, if you, and I like to pay attention to context clues,
Hmm.
and and not to make it, not to be that girl. But when she said to Michael, "I'm gonna whip your ass," excuse me?
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, it's those words put together. I'm going to whip your ass. That's a grown man you're talking to.
Yeah, that's a
And
that's a charged word, if you will.
well, and
Right. It's a very charged word. And then when she said that, I was like, "Oh, she doesn't respect this man." You know what I mean? Like, he's in for it. But I will say this, Michael is not a scammer, but him and Angela from the beginning, he wanted something from Angela. Angela wanted something from him. He wanted to get over to the United States so bad it burned a hole in his ass. And he wanted that from the beginning, because it was like, oh yeah, sure, he'll put up with anything and everything Angela had to give to him, as long as it meant that he was coming over here. And he was like, oh yeah, sure, baby. Like, he was almost like Soldier Boy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
oh,
he was, to me, he was almost like Soldier Boy. Like, yeah, he's just running through these women. He's just trying to, put a square peg into a round hole until he's able to get what he wants out of it. But Angela kind of was playing the hard game, like, I'm dangling the carrot in front of in front of his face, like, yeah, you'll come to the state, you'll come to the state. I'll make sure you come. And she pushed it long enough. And I'm telling you, from the beginning, I just seen that it was going to shit from the beginning. Even when he told her, "I like you as a big woman, don't get the surgery." She goes and gets the surgery, and then she's like, "Oh, he isn't attracted to me." Yes, you stupid peanut, because he told you from the beginning he didn't want you to have this freaking surgery. You dumb bag of bricks. Like, we told you. He told you he didn't like skinny women, and you went and had surgery any fucking way. So
yeah,
it was just like all across the board. Like, again, Michael's hands are not clean. You know what I'm saying? It's
yeah.
not poor Michael, because here's the thing: had she not been as verbally as a jerk as she was or is, you would have just put up with it to be here, buddy. Like, let's keep it real. Like, you're not victimless here. This isn't you're not the
Well,
victim.
a lot of people mention that he didn't start being the victim until he's ready to leave her. And I think that statement caught me as interesting because I was like, you're right. He never was like, help me, help me, help me until he got his green card and he's ready to leave her. Because I was like, if you're in a bad situation and you fear for your life and you're being abused, you wouldn't stick around longer than you have to, right? Like if you have a way out, if you could send her back to the US and she couldn't do this to you anymore, do that. But he came over here with her. And then once he got what he wanted, people were like, oh, well, now he's a victim. And a lot of people are like, that doesn't strike me as a victim. A victim is a victim from the beginning. The second they become abused, they're a victim. He waited until it was convenient to become the victim. And that a lot of people were saying that. And that's an interesting thing to me because I think you're right. Because I watch a lot of Judge Judy and she always says, you got to come to court with clean hands. You can't come to court and expect me to help you if you were doing some shady stuff to get here. And I feel like you're right. He doesn't have clean hands. Neither of them do. So it's hard.
No, I'm
No, I
sorry.
was gonna
Go
say
ahead.
it's hard to pick a side of who's right and who's wrong there because, like you said, neither of them got
Mhm.
clean hands. Nobody's innocent.
True. But yeah, Holly, again, you have fans, but I don't want to drag this.
Follow me, I follow
True,
back.
yeah. But I want to keep this our Sunday show kind of shorter. But is that cool? But yeah, we'll have you back on, Holly. But yeah, you have fans that are listening. They said Holly is gold.
Yeah, we have.
Thank
We
you.
I want to continue this conversation about the dating a wheelchair guy, because and I know Coco and JLP are gonna have way more questions than me, because I want to get into it. We never really, this wasn't a thing that we looked into so in depth until Brian got on the show, right? So now
Mhm.
we're learning more about it, and I just want to hear firsthand, what that was like, and so I want to get more in depth into that.
True. All right. Well, thank you, Holly.
You're welcome. Thank you guys for having me on Shabooty. Let me know whenever you need me. I'll be on
Okay,
Friday.
sounds good. I'll look for you. Okay. Thanks.
So tomorrow
Thank you.
is the last resort season 2, and then afterward is Between the Sheets, with the cast members of the show recapping the show, which is it's a spin on Pillow Talk, except
Hmm.
this spin is it's the actual cast members reacting to their actual scenes. So it's the same shit but different shit. So
Yeah.
but Shabuti, you brought this up. 2 hours for the last resort, then an hour for Between the Sheets. It's a 3 hour dedication tomorrow. So I don't know if everybody has that type of time or wants to. So that's what we're in for.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I hope The Last Resort is good, even though we kind of know most of the couples aren't together.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm thinking too. But knowing the outcome really ruins it for me. So I'm just hoping that's entertaining enough. They argue and fight enough that I forget and I just watch the show. I'm hoping.
All right, real quick before we end it, let me just read through more comments real quick, and then we'll end it. Let's see. Lana says I can't stand Angela either. No, and then Stacy says no one wants to date you, Brian, because you're a scumbag that lies and you were a drug dealer. Um, and then Gina says, yeah, my cousin who's in a wheelchair has leg tremors. Um, let's see. Stacy says Brian lied repeatedly. She could not unsee that. I assume that means the first night.
Yeah.
Um, Gina, your friend, says, George, you got to get more than one woman's opinion. Laugh out loud about nails.
Okay, okay. I get it. I got my post, and I thought I was getting good information, but I didn't. You're right. I
Mhm.
have to get more than one person's opinion on things because now I'm out here telling people things are bad that are not bad. So yeah, you're right. I'll make sure I get better opinions on things.
True. And then let's see. Stacy says, I think this is about Lauren, but isn't he that stupid though? He wanted to marry the mom to commit fraud, like immigration fraud or whatever.
I mean, yeah, and then said it on TV. I mean, so yeah, you're right. He is that stupid. I mean, because I was always told if you're gonna commit a crime, you don't tell anyone. That's just what
Mhm.
I was always told. I watched a lot of Law and Order. The more people you told, the more likely you're gonna get arrested. So that's just how it goes.
And then Lana says she's ready tomorrow for. She says I'm ready for tomorrow, all 3 hours of
Oh,
Last Resort.
I'm ready, but I'm skeptical. I'm gonna watch the first Between the Sheets though. I'm gonna give it a
Mhm.
college try. If they can't keep me, I'm not watching it. But I'm giving it a college try tomorrow.
Yeah, you let me know how behind the sheets is,
Yeah,
or
I'm gonna give
what is it called? Under the sheets, behind the sheets,
Between the Sheets. Between the
between the
Sheets.
sheets. I always call it. I always mix it up.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a college try. And if it's good, I'm gonna tell y'all. If it's bad, I'll tell y'all don't waste your time. But I'm gonna try it.
Okay. Well, I think I read that ends all the comments that I read. But I think we did a good while tonight.
Yeah, this was way longer than usual. Usually Sundays are like a half hour. So yeah, this was way
Yeah.
longer.
True. All right. Well, thank you for listening to 90 Day Fiance Fridays on a Sunday.
On a Sunday, thank you guys. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Well, you'll talk to him tomorrow, and
Oh yeah, yeah.
then
I'll talk to y'all tomorrow for my after show. We'll be back on Friday. We'll be back on Friday
yeah,
for a recap for this week.
yeah, we'll talk to y'all Friday, and then this taping will be on Apple and Spotify tomorrow.
Yes, tomorrow. Make sure you stream it and take a picture and send it to us. We can post it exactly where you're streaming it from.
Exactly.
All right,
All
guys.
right.
Bye. Peace.
Peace.